Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Psst, your payments are showing. But with Apple Cash, your payments are private by design. There are no public feeds. Send and receive money privately in messages or with Tap to Cash. Switch to Apple Cash. Apple Cash services are provided by Green Dot Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome to
4Kids Flashback. Hello and welcome to 4Kids Flashback. Talkback.
Flashback.
Talkback. The voice, you're hearing the vocal stylings of Mr. Double D, Darren Dunstan. You win. You win America's Got voiceover.
In high school, we had to sing in vocal jazz choir, and we would go to these festivals and we get adjudicated, and I had a scat solo. Ugh, dumb chills. And afterwards, the guy was like, yeah, maybe try more like Z's, like ziba, ziba, zuba, ziba. I was like, ugh.
Wow, I never heard you scat.
There's a reason for that.
You were a singing teacher, though, and I've always said I never took a vocal lesson with you.
I enjoyed, I mean, I like the technique part, but I also really enjoyed like coaching, like finding the story in a song and that sort of thing. So,
if any of you out there need a lesson, I think Darren is saying he's available.
Wait, what?
Wait,
I got
he
stuff.
only charges $17 billion an hour.
Right? Moo, hoo, hoo.
We are way off topic. So this is our probably final Talkback episode. Let's not make it sad. And honestly, I should say that that's not a sad thing. We always knew this was a limited podcast series because there's only so many people who worked at 4Kids.
Right. But you found them all.
I caught them all.
Dug through the closet where they kept the pens and the legal pads. You're like, say something bad about somebody.
Yeah, but you know what? We never got any dirt on you, unfortunately. I was really hoping that some skeletons would fall out of that closet you're sitting in right now. And
I gotta save something for my Lifetime movie starring
your memoir,
Meredith Baxter as Darren Dunstan.
Who would play you? Who would play you in a story of your life?
I said what I said. Someone that looks like me, or could it just be like dream casting, or someone who would slum it to do a shitty TV movie?
No, wait. But who do you think? Who do people say you look like? Is there anyone that?
Nobody. Back in the day, Tim Roth.
Oh.
Is that a thing?
Yes. Now I can't unsee it. Oh my God, that would be great. I'd watch the crap out of that TV movie.
Raul Esparza, I ran into him in P Time. He's like 5 feet tall. He's
like my height?
Shorter.
No, he's not. No, you're lying. Okay, this is about you guys. This is about the listeners because some of you were kind enough to leave us messages. I'm sorry we can't get to all of them, but we have some great ones to play for you and to make Darren respond to.
This is a highlight of my day. I love hearing people like when we
praise
go to cons.
You?
No,
yeah.
Like honestly, it's the deep cutting questions when people come to the table at a con and like ask you or they well up, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Yeah, so bring it.
Yeah,
let's get tough.
I just got to do a panel with Eric Stewart and Michael Hagney, and it is fun when people like you and I get to sit down and like doing a panel with them. We all learn things, and then we start asking each other questions on the panel.
I love that.
Yeah,
or
it was
there's
really...
a lot that we've forgotten too, I'm sure, over the years. Like, oh, that did happen at that?
So much. Yeah, the jelly donut came up, and we really did a deep dive into that too, which was fun.
Jelly donut?
How do you not know this? You seriously don't know this?
I don't think I do.
Okay, everyone is like freaking out who's listening because everyone knows the jelly donut story. But basically, in an early episode of Pokemon, and it's covered in the first episode of this podcast with Michael Hagney.
Oh.
There is an episode where there is an onigiri, which is a very traditional afternoon snack in Japan for kids, and Michael was writing the episode and didn't know what it was and just was like, oh, whatever, I'll just call it a jelly donut.
Yeah.
And people went crazy. And he always says, like, he didn't mean to start an international incident with this. But
God.
Yeah, so
that does ring a bell.
Yeah. If you Google Pokemon jelly donut, you'll just find memes and things, and yeah. Okay.
I just picture you like looking out of the booth, and there's Michael in the studio, just like white jelly donut powder all over his face. Just try the jelly donut.
That would be a much better jelly donut story. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. Okay, so our first message comes to us from someone named Andrew.
Hi, this is Andrew from Minnesota. I want to thank you so much for having Amy Plant on the podcast. It really was great getting to hear her stories of working at 4Kids and what she was doing at that time, as well as going into her child psychology a little bit. I know for me growing up, I enjoyed many of the 4Kids female voice actresses, but the two I enjoyed the most were Erica Schroeder and Amy Plant. I know both have been on the podcast, and it was really great getting to hear from both of them. So thank you so very much for having both of them on. I really do appreciate it. I did have a question for Darren Dunstan. I know that Amy Plant talked about wanting to go into voice acting again. I don't know if you ever directed her while she was at 4Kids, but I did want to ask if you had any tips or advice for her, especially since it's been about 20 years since she has been voice acting. I know she mentioned she would have to get a home studio set up. I don't know if that's required for voice acting or being on like Go Rush, for example. But if she wanted to do any voice acting in the area or on Go Rush, I was just curious if you had any tips or advice for her. Thank you so very much again, and I hope you both have a great day.
Oh, we love Amy Pallant.
And Andrew, what a thorough deep dive question. That's thoughtful. I love that.
Yeah, and you named two incredibly talented actresses, Amy Pallant and Erica Schroeder. And yes, I loved hearing about her current work as a child psychologist. But Darren, that was for you. Do you have any tips or advice? And what she, if she does want to dabble back into the industry, it sounded like she didn't have a ton of time to do that. But
Right. That happens all the time. That's kind of my journey with theater. It's like I did it for a while, left it, and then you kind of wonder, like, how do you hook back in? And like Amy was such a sweetheart. She was the main character with you on the first series I ever directed, Fighting Foodons. And yeah, I think, this is so schmoozy to say, but like networking, taking a class, just getting on someone's, email horizon. Yeah. So often people send me correspondence, and like I'm sure they think like, oh, I've never heard from this guy, or I try to email back, but maybe I don't, and like that puts them on my radar though, and like I'm constantly have them in my pocket. Their name stays in my brain, and like that stuff actually works, whether you think it's working or not. So I think that's step one, is just to sort of like, and Amy knows a ton of us in the voiceover community, actors, directors, producers, people who've gone on to great stuff, to just start networking again and to reignite those connections. We don't have to have dinner, like whatever. It's just like getting back on someone's radar and knowing you're available.
And classes are great because I know like sometimes when it's been a long time between when I've done something, I kind of just, I don't want to be nervous at the job or the audition. So I'd rather take some classes just to warm up again and to feel comfortable. So yeah, I think, and the classes are fun, and I always tell people like, I see people charging a ton of money for classes. Not you, Darren, but like there are some classes that are crazy. And I always tell people like there's so many great ways to, like, if you know other friends that want to do this, get some scripts and just do like a Zoom group together for free where you all just practice reading. Because it's about getting the nerves out a lot of the time.
Right. No matter how long we've been doing this, we still have something to learn. And like you said, it doesn't even have to be from a teacher or a director or a casting person. It can be from a colleague.
Yeah. I get more nervous performing in front of my friends than a director.
Because we are judgy.
Judgy. Darren, when you logged on to Zoom today to do this with me and I was a cat, what was were you excited or scared? Or excited and scared?
And scared.
That's a musical theater joke.
Look it up. Just kidding. She appeared and like she had this cat head that like with the mouth. What's that called? Is it called?
It was like a cat avatar. A cavatar.
A cavatar.
A cat
She had her dumb cavatar, and I thought to myself, how long is this going to take before she can... And sure enough, it took forever for you to figure out how to...
I couldn't figure out how to undo what I had done.
In fact, I think you're still a cat. I didn't want to tell you that, but...
Because this... well, I did get a lot of surgery, and this is my new cat face.
Like the cat
but yeah,
lady.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for that awesome question. We're going to go to a message from Brittany.
Oh.
My name is Brittany, and I'm from Los Angeles, California, and my fondest memory of watching 4Kids is when Pokemon came out, and I remember when the VHS Pokemon movies came out, I started going through my phase of watching the show and liking the music, and the music was pretty amazing and very well orchestrated, and it's great to see that Pokemon is still popular today, and I love meeting celebrity panels and going to conventions and talking to them about my childhood, and Pokemon was definitely the first anime I grew up watching, and I still watch it from time to time and play the games from time to time, and I hope that people can take a minute to just like understand the music and understand that Pokemon's about friendships and battles and all of that, and hopefully the soundtracks will still continue to live on. And I really enjoy being a fan, and I want to thank you so much for making these podcasts for kids who were born in the 90s and the early 2000s. I really appreciate you guys doing this.
Oh, lovely. Hey, Brittany.
Aww. Brittany, we appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
That's so sweet. Gosh, I just had like well, first of all, when she said VHS, it just takes me immediately back. And like I can picture that Pokemon VHS tape.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And the movie one had like the more pillowy, big VHS box. You know, there was like the flat boxes and there were like the fancy VHS boxes.
I feel like those bigger ones were like extra insulated, or like you could drop a soda on them and it would be fine.
Yeah,
they're like,
totally.
Was that why? It's like they're waterproof, or like take them to the beach.
They knew you were drinking. So yes, so many people bring VHS tapes to the beach.
You got your VCR over your shoulder. You wanted to sand.
Because there's so many outlets to plug stuff into at the beach.
What Brittany really brought me back to was all the music at 4Kids, and like that it was all in house, and like you could walk down the hall and like, or even you know, if you in one studio through the wall you could hear like blaring like I wanna be the, you could hear like the music being scored. John Siegler, who like a legend, like John Siegler, who wrote so many scores for so many cartoons. He wrote Pokemon Live. He was the bass player for Hall & Oates.
So cool.
I think he's the guy who's like, private eyes are watching you.
He's the clapper.
I gotta think he had to be one of the clappers.
That is the second Private Eyes conversation I've had today.
Whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Well, I was working with this great director named Angela, and she was telling me that she and her friend do these parody videos where they dress up as Hall & Oates and have conversations about how they created the songs. So I am following them. I think it's like Daryl and Oates. I'll give them a shout out. But yeah, how weird that Hall & Oates came up twice today. But yes, John Siegler. Yeah.
just like the backbone of that place, and knew his genres, and like each theme song kind of had a different angle, and you kind of wouldn't know it was all composed more or less by the same person, and like just a genius.
Yeah, one of my favorite things in the Norman episode was that he said something to the effect of when he wanted to get away from everything, he would go hide in Siegler's office and just like hang out in the music room. Like there was a great vibe in there.
There's a really, it's the best office of the place. It has these ginormous windows, ginormous couch. Like it's what you expect like a real like souped up music guy's studio to look like. So
yeah, he got the studio he deserved. And you also just reminded me, Brittany, like I've been thinking about this a lot lately about the kids and how this show is supposed to be about the kids, and they're what made it so big. And now with all this stuff with the trading cards and scalpers and all, it's all adult. That's all the adults kind of messing it up for the kids who should have this stuff and who made this what it is. And yeah,
it's like in Yu-Gi-Oh, like there's the dueling and the monsters, which I think a lot of people are watching the show for that stuff. But I love acting and directing the scene stuff when there's an episode without a duel. I know some people are like, "Aw," but to me that's like, "Ah." It's like, "Oh, we're gonna have an adventure and a relationship and talk." I love that.
Yeah, like I'm not an action movie person. I'll kind of tune out during that stuff, and I wait for the talkie stuff.
The talkies.
The talkies. That's what they called them. The talkies.
Are you from the 1920s?
I am.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hey, this is Tara Sands, and I'd love to meet you at a convention near you. Here's where I'll be for the next couple of months, June 21st and 22nd, Heroes Dutch Comic-Con. Then on June 24th, I'll be doing a Whatnot with Rotterdam Comics at 6:30, but that's Netherlands time for those of you there. Then June 25th, I'll be in Wales at the Collector Sector. June 28th, 29th, I'll be with Megan Hollingshead. Oh, I'll be with her for all of these. In Glasgow at the Scotland Card Show. July 11th through 13th, Cap City Comic-Con in Lansing, Michigan. July 26th, who's in Palmyra, Pennsylvania? I'll be at the Nerd Place. August 2nd, the Poke Hive in San Antonio. August 9th, I'll be at an to-be-announced Midwest store, so check my Instagram for updates. August 16th, I'll be on Whatnot with Nostalgic Relics if you want to order some stuff being signed. August 30th, 31st, I'm going to be in Texas again. I can't tell you where yet. I have a bunch of things in between I can't announce yet. Then December 7th, I will be at Charlie's Comic-Con in Fort Myers, Florida. Follow my Instagram for any updates at Tara Sands VO, and I hope to meet you guys all in person soon. Thanks.
With a Venmo debit card, you can Venmo more than just your friends. You can use your balance in so many ways. You can Venmo everything. Need gas? You can Venmo this. How about snacks? You can Venmo that. Your favorite band's merch? You can Venmo this. Or their next show? You can Venmo that. Visit Venmo.me/debit to learn more.
You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo.
The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Card may be used everywhere MasterCard is accepted. Venmo purchase restrictions apply.
Should we listen to another message?
Meow.
Meow. Are we cats now, Darren? All right, here's a message from David.
Hey, Tara and Darren. This is David in Tanzania. I have a question about when 4Kids was first founded back in the 90s. What was the first 4Kids show that you did back in the day since 4Kids was already running at that time?
So, David, that is a great question. I am looking in my calendar. So,
Your calendar goes back that far?
Yeah, so I had a Palm Pilot.
Oh my gosh.
That where I was able to save a lot of stuff. I don't have everything in here. I have that I was working in 2000 at Taj. I believe that was January 5th, 2000, unless I possibly did some stuff before that. So I worked, my first episode of Pokemon, I believe, was Episode 10.
Wow.
And actually, I'm pretty sure it was episode 10. We might have been recording at Buttons before that or Reel to Reel. But definitely by 2000, we were working on Pokemon. I thought it was maybe even sooner than that. I'm just double. Reel to Reel, let's see, that's 2001. Yeah, the episode started airing in the U.S. in 98, so I am clearly missing a bunch in my calendar, which I thought was so reliable.
Who thought we should call it Buttons? What a weird...
What?
The studio was called Buttons?
Yeah, there's a studio named Buttons, and Reel to Reel, which was like REEL to REAL. Or I think, yeah, that made sense.
That was
Buttons, but there are a lot of, I mean, back then there were even more buttons in a recording studio.
My first reaction is buttons like on a shirt. So I'm like, oh, is this some sort of factory where, I don't know.
Oh, Darren. So, David, in Tanzania, I guess to answer your question, for me, Pokemon was the first show I worked on. Darren had, and I guess that was around that date I told you, but Darren, when was your first job for 4Kids?
I mean, 4Kids like co-produced Pokemon Live, which was like spring of 2000. They cast that. So in a way, I was kind of working on that at that point, but not in the cartoons. And then 2001 was where I started acting for Yu-Gi-Oh! And then 2002 started directing for Fighting Foodons, which was the first show. They were like, throw him this show, see if he tanks it.
I love that they even thought to move you guys over from the singing and dancing to this stuff. So I'm just grateful it happened because I wouldn't know you.
I think a few of us, they were like, why don't we audition so-and-so for this? And maybe they didn't know easily how to access new actors. So they were like, but anyways, thank goodness, right? The stories from you and Andrew in your interviews about Pokemon Live have been some of my favorites. Oh, I love it. I love the Pokemon Live stories. What a ride.
So good.
I do have the photos. They're just down the hall. I need to dig them out and, bring them to the store, get them digitized, and I'll share them with you. Cause
you could just send them in somewhere, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to do it myself. So
do you have pictures from our days hanging out that you haven't digitized yet? From
I don't know.
4Kids proper?
I'm not sure. Maybe?
Oh, my God.
I can't picture me walking around with a camera, though. That doesn't seem like me. And this was before
we used to use those disposable cameras. I used to have those all the time. The pictures were the worst.
You had one shot.
Oh.
Like Eminem says, one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow.
This
Mom's
opportunity
spaghetti.
comes.
Mackay Pfeiffer.
I did not know you'd be rapping during this session. I had no idea that was going to happen. I heard you scat. I heard you rap.
I mean,
what's next?
It
Samba?
won best song, so it's it's an Academy Award adjacent moment. So of course,
yes. So again, just for those of you who are forgotten, Darren is an Academy Awards encyclopedia. You can ask him a year and who won for what things. And are you like that with anything else? Have an encyclopedic memory?
No, that's the only thing I really am passionate about. Yeah, I don't think there's... I mean, I got some other weird pockets of knowledge maybe, but I don't know. What's yours?
What do I know a lot about? I'm not I don't think I'm an expert on anything. The way you are with the way you are with the Academy Awards. I'm good with crossword puzzles and things like that, but I'm not...
Yeah. And you're good with your actors, who's in what, who did that show. You have a lot of that in your
kind of. And I used to be like that with musical theater until I left New York. I knew everything. I knew what was going on, who was in it, who replaced who. I used to know all of that.
Right.
That was my passion then.
Same.
And now I'm passionless. No, I'm just kidding.
This is a cry for help.
I kind of have a lot of hobbies. I'm very into my plants right now and different kind of tomatoes. Ooh. And I'm also into making jewelry and different kinds of stones. But I haven't gone over the deep end with memorization. So.
Full-size tomatoes or cherry tomatoes?
All kinds. Wow. You want to know what my favorite kind of tomato is?
Yeah.
It's called a spoon tomato. And that's because they are so tiny that you can fit a ton of them in a teaspoon. And they are bursting with flavor.
So they're teeny, the size of a pea, kind of?
like the size of a pea, sometimes smaller. And they're great. I'm sorry, everybody, that I'm making you listen. They're great in omelets because because they don't, you have to cut them in half to put them in there. Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, less tomato talk, more messages. And this one is from...
Thank you for your question about tomatoes, David.
And this message is from Dan.
Hi, Tara and friends. This is Dan from Hudson Valley. I just wanted to say thank you so much for this show. I find the act of localization fascinating and seeing why changes were made to certain shows, how they became popular, how they hit a certain market. It's so fascinating. I've been loving getting to know the story of all the people behind the scenes, whether that's production or things that inspired the voice actors, how they came to be, how some of them it was their dream, and how some of people lucked into it. It's also been really fun solving the mysteries of the shows, like finding out about what happened to F-Zero, where certain voice talent went, what inspired certain voices, why the certain cast changed, and solving other series mysteries, like finding out what cards Mokuba played. And all of your stories have been so wonderful and fascinating. It's inspired me to go back through some of your older works. Like I'm actually just started watching Slayers with a friend of mine recently. It's been wonderful. And I want to thank all of you for using your voices, not just in the show, but in real life to make a difference on the shows. Be a source of inspiration, positivity, getting to, share your wealth of information and your experience with everyone. It's been lovely getting to hear all your stories and meet all of you, and I hope to continue to do so in the future. So thank you again.
Dan, that was so, thank you. It's been a pleasure for us to go down this weird memory lane. So thank you for listening and being there with us along the way.
It's, you kind of reminded me how many different sort of facets of your podcast there are, like the localization he was talking about, the cast, the why we change stuff, the evolution of a show. I don't know. I find that nice.
Well,
thorough.
And localization came up recently at a convention, and I find it. They asked how it's changed over the years, and what's so fascinating to me too is that kids don't know they're watching anime. Kids just have a cartoon they like, and again like. Whatever issues, like back to the jelly donut with the Americanization, which was kind of the intent, but then the intent became less Americanization and more like a neutralization of Pokemon, so that a kid, and that sounds like a bad thing, but the intent was that a kid anywhere, it would feel like their hometown. And there's something so personal about that. So while I understand not changing things in certain shows and staying true to the manga and staying true to the intent and all that, what's fascinating about Pokemon is that as 4Kids made their changes to it, the Pokemon company would make the original episodes closer to the way 4Kids was doing it, so that it would feel like a universal show. And I learned that through the podcast, and I really enjoyed learning that. So
yeah. I might be wrong, but I also think Yu-Gi-Oh! Too, like we make the English version and then that's what's sent out internationally. And so we do try to not make it too hard or use too many like obscure Americanisms. We don't reference specific geography. Like we want to make it that you could air the English version somewhere else, but you could also easily like adapt it to your Finnish version, or why did I choose Finnish? But
Finnish, ooh.
Yeah. Are you finished? I find it's endlessly interesting. And some things I know, I'm sure you probably know more than I do, Tara. Like, I've worked there forever, but there's still, like, the secrets behind the scenes are like, oh, did you edit this? Like, oh, you put an act break in where there wasn't one? I didn't know.
I still feel like there's so much more for me to learn, like, after this. So, yeah. No, but you knew knew so much of the day-to-day, which I just had no clue about because I wasn't there that often. But you mentioned, David, the mysteries and like solving the mysteries of who played this. And I just have to thank Darren for listening to all the voice clips I would send him to be like, who is this? Do you know who this is? I can't tell.
I love that. So, it would like, when you stumped me, I'd be like, oh, I'd be up all night. Just like, is that Susie? Is that, no.
No, okay, you're lying. But we and just so you guys know, we can keep that going. Just because the podcast ends doesn't mean that we have to stop up all of that. So again, we will do more episodes if someone shows up or if like we get a question answered. So
yeah, it's like after Murder, She Wrote ended, they did a handful of specials. So like when you're just when you're craving Jessica Fletcher, boom, she's back.
Darren is mad that I've never seen an episode of Murder, She Wrote. But okay,
it doesn't scratch the surface. That is like maddening.
But you're reminding me that I did get asked a question on Twitter last night that I was saving for this while we recorded this. Darren, I got asked if I knew a certain actor who I don't know. It looks like he might have only been in One Piece, but his name was Richard Will or Richard Cottrell, and I could not find really anything about him. I don't know if this man looks familiar to you. I'm holding up a picture that someone put. But again, he was really, there are multiple people with his name that could have been him. His IMDb stops like right after One Piece. That just, so I don't know if he left the industry, if he passed away.
Send me the picture, would you?
Yeah, I will. So anyone out there knows.
I feel like Chris Collet sometimes would bring in like actors that nobody else knew, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
it was a very Chris Collet thing. Okay, so I'm sending Darren this picture. Let's see if this face looks familiar to him.
Oh wait, if I check my text, will I hang up on you?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, he looks like a very nice man.
I know. And again, I'm not even convinced that's the exact right picture of who he is. So
gotcha.
But again, another mystery that we have yet to solve, like the Who Sang the Kirby theme song mystery, that hopefully we'll continue doing research on. So thank you, Dan, for all the nice words. We will now hear from Elise.
Woo.
Hi, Tara. This is Elise. I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate you and Steve Yurko doing this podcast. It's very informative. I mean, I'm learning so much about things that happen behind the scenes, and it's great hearing from all the other voice actors. I hope to meet a lot of you at the conventions, and I hope to see you again sometime. Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's so sweet. Yeah, and the conventions, we love meeting you guys, and just as much we love seeing each other, which is just this added bonus of the cherry on top of all of this, like still talking about these shows we did 20 years ago.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, we get to meet all you and just talk to you all about your personal experiences with the shows. And then at the end of the day, like, I'm sure we all exchange stories about, oh my gosh, this one person said that this episode was their favorite. Like, reminded me of this character I never played, or like, and then we have fun just reminiscing about other crazy stuff we did on the slide.
I mean, my face, we saw each other not so long ago, and my face hurt from laughing. Like, it really legitimately hurt.
It's so, like, isn't that weird? It's like, people say, like, oh, it's just like no time has passed, but like, there's just an ease to being with those people, and like, it brings, I think it all brings out our like funny bone, and we all have different senses of humor and respect each other for that. And sometimes it's weird and sometimes it's goofy or dad jokes, but I love it all.
Yeah, especially because like it has been a ridiculous amount of time, and people's lives are so different now, but at their core they are the same. Like, we were at dinner once, I don't know if you were there, Darren, and someone said, wow, we've all really changed. And I go, no, we haven't. I go, and I pointed around them and I go, you're still grumpy. I'm still blah, blah, blah. You're still, and I mean, I won't out anyone for what I said about them, but I was like, at the core, we are the same friggin' people we always were.
I remember we read it, like, Tony Salerno was at the one in San Antonio, the con. And like, we saw him down by the Riverwalk, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen him for like 20 years. Probably.
Yes, I remember this. Yeah.
And this like weird nervous thing set in. And then as soon as we started talking, it was just like, like, he was a goofball, I was a goofball. And it's like, what was I worried about?
Same core people.
Yeah.
Aw. Well, thank you, Elise. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
Let's go to this this message from Bryant.
Hello, this is Bryant calling in from Florida. And I actually do have a story about Rachel Lillis that I wanted to share. When I visited her at, I believe, a convention here in Miami with Eric Stewart, I asked her about Maddie Blostein, and it was sad. She said the day before Maddie passed away, she looked completely fine, and it was just a shame. And it was really a shame to this lady who is really, really nice lady and completely talented and really great, and she's just gone like that also. It's a really bad feeling to feel, and I wish nothing for the best for you guys, friends and family, for Rachel Lillis. Thanks for the memories.
Thank you so much for sharing that story with me. I didn't know that Rachel saw Maddie the day before she passed, so I really like knowing that, and I have a warmth knowing that, so I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, it was so sudden. I remember that day vividly where we found out, and yeah, I'm sure I had worked with her the week before, and like Veronica was there, and we were on the phone with like I think Maddie's brother or something, and like it was just a stunness, and then to lose Rachel too, it's like it's
awful.
It's unbelievable. Part of it's tied to like we think we're gonna, like you said, we think we're young, we think we haven't changed, and like we're gonna live forever, and then, and we lose people who are so important to this,
and too young to die as well. I think once we hit a certain age, it's gonna not be shocking, I guess, unfortunately. But these were very shocking deaths, and I'm really glad that we got to do a tribute to Maddie on the show. We've talked about Rachel a lot. I have not had been in the frame of mind to put together something for Rachel. It feels too soon for me to be able to do that because there's other things that we're still working on to honor her with. So it's definitely not that I didn't want to. It's that I couldn't. I just couldn't handle it yet. Yeah. But I'm so glad you called and brought them up because I think they're an important part of this show. So
what a cast! Like Veronica, Eric, Rachel, were kind of the core of, and Maddie were the core of that show.
Four of them, for sure.
4 crazy different personalities, like no two alike, and yet they really liked each other. They really respected the process and the director they were working with, and like I don't know, that such a cohesive show. Maybe that's the brilliance of it. It's like such a show came from such 4 distinct personalities,
very different people, and I think once they were in their rhythm, I know, and I think also the recasts are so fascinating. Meeting Matt Sussman, who was the original Meowth, and then at this panel this weekend, I found out because Eric Stewart talked about the recasts at 4Kids, and he said, well, I wasn't the original Brock or James. And I had known about James. I knew that Ted Lewis was originally James. I didn't know he wasn't the original Brock.
I didn't know that.
Apparently, someone else was Brock, who we don't know, and it never aired. This guy got replaced before it even aired. It just didn't work for whatever reason. The voice wasn't right once they got into the session. So Eric was like, I was a second choice for both of those, which I had no idea. So, but I think, and again, Matt Sussman's a wonderful person, and I'm glad he went and did that job and all that. But this was those 4 really were perfect, and what they did. I love. And I always thought it was the intent that Misty and Jesse were the same person and that Brock and James were the same person, but that was just a coincidence that kind of happened.
Isn't that crazy? It's like, I'm sure they auditioned tons of people, but they were like the best for those roles, and you can't think of them anywhere else or way else, or I can't.
There's some weird meta thing with that too, that like, oh, are Ash's two best friends also like I go a step further with it, even though there's no hidden meaning to any of it, but like there's something ironic about that.
You've seen Chinatown one too many times. It's like everyone's related. It's like Lost.
Yes, that's kind of how. Yeah, okay. Well, that is definitely not accurate, but I still do like to think about that.
That's funny.
So thank you so much, Bryant, for sharing that story with us. Yeah. Let's hear from Mariana now.
Hi, Tara. Hi, Darren. Thank you so much for doing these Talkback episodes of 4Kids Flashback. They've been so fun to listen to, and I love hearing the feedback that you have provided to a lot of the fans and the followers of the podcast. So I think it's really, really cool that you guys did this. I'm definitely going to miss these episodes. So I wanted to ask a question to the both of you. So Tara, in all your years of working at 4Kids, what would you say was the funniest moment or blooper that happened to you or another cast member during like a recording of a session for like one of the 4Kids shows? And for Darren, I might have talked about this a little bit on my podcast about Pokemon Live, but I really want to hear from you. What was the most embarrassing blooper or mishap to happen to either you or another cast member during the tour, either like on stage or off stage? Because I've been told some great stories about the show, and they've been so fun to listen to, just like hearing a lot of the stories that you guys have been sharing on the 4Kids Flashback podcast. So anyway, yeah, thanks a lot, guys. And I am super excited to see what 4Kids Flashback has in store. So thanks a lot. Bye.
Aw, bloopers.
That's amazing. I love these questions.
I do too.
It's like Mariana's like, dish the dirt, and make it funny. Go.
Okay, so my favorite funny moment in studio involves Double D Darren Dunstan.
Totally.
I think we've talked about this, Darren. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, it's one of the best.
So Darren was directing me one day, and I don't know what happened, but I had the headphone cord and the mic cord. It's a very small booth. There's not a lot of room to go, but somehow I managed to trip over it and fall. And Darren said what happened, and I said, I was pushed.
I hear this loud thud, and she's on the floor, like in a booth by herself. Like she obviously did it. That's never happened
I am
since.
So klutzy. And I'm so glad it happened with you, because I don't know how I would have explained that to any. Well, I
mean,
guess
it is. There are a lot of cords. Like, luckily, maybe that's why the walls are padded. It's like, it's like helps self-care for the actors.
Oh my gosh. I also remember, and I was working with Jim Malone at one point, and I don't remember if it was Slayers or if it was if it was Slayers or if it was Pokemon or a 4Kids show, but I do remember, I think he dared me to eat a lot of mustard packets.
Oh.
I just remember that being a weird day in the studio. But bloopers we don't really have. I think there might be someone hoarding some of that stuff who hasn't released it, but I don't have any fun bloopers. But Darren, what is your answer to this question?
Well, the Pokemon Live question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a time. Like, it was a hoot. Like, how old was I? My first gig out of college, so I was like 24 maybe or something. So like, and we were all young. I was one of the older ones of the cast. So like, imagine like people from 18 to 24 like getting paid well and like just being living out of hotel rooms in huge cities across America. Like the stuff, I mean, yeah,
trouble. That is a recipe for trouble. The fact that no one ended up in jail is shocking.
We would play unprofessionally. We would play games on stage where like you'd have to, like, there were always Ricola Ricola, whatever.
Ricola.
Backstage.
Ricola. Yeah, I guess you do say that. Like.
And you'd have to play past the Ricola. So like somehow, like you would have the Ricola would have to pass through every single person of the cast. So like, you know, like I've locked Delia Ketchum in a cell, and I'd walk up to the cell bar and just like and slowly pass her and then she's like, oh, because it was, you know, and then she passed it to Professor Oak, and like we do just stupid stuff like that. There was a Halloween, the night before Halloween. Is that we were in Detroit, and I guess that's the night that Detroit
Cabbage night. We used to call it cabbage night. People do bad things the night before Halloween.
Yeah, like literally Detroit gets caught on fire, basically. Like they light shit on fire. And all of a sudden, like we're hanging out in the lobby, but some people had gone out. And then Kathleen, this woman who plays Meowth, comes, this 50-something lady with a cigarette in her hand. She runs in. She's like, everything's on fire. Pokemon's at the casino. Because I guess a bunch of the people had gone to the casino, and it's still stuck in my brain. Pokemon's at the casino. So,
that's amazing. So I don't know what to say.
Good times. I
want to play past the Ricola at some event that we have to do. I want to figure out how to work that into something now.
One last thing. I was up on this huge platform for my big opening song, like high in the air. I don't know, 20 feet up or whatever. And one time they forgot to put a piece of it on, so like literally I could have plummeted to my death. So like they literally a piece was missing, and I was like, oh, I guess I better just make sure I'm not gonna fall. And it's like moving and shit. No, it wasn't good. But anyways,
no,
I survived and I passed the Ricola.
Yeah. That's really funny. Thank you so much. That was a great question. Now we will move on to a message from Damien.
My name is Damien Powell, and I'm calling from Forest Hill, Texas. My question is, what is your favorite 4Kids show?
Damien, that's a good and tough question.
He's like straight to Final Jeopardy. I love that.
I know. I like Pokemon for many reasons. Again, because sentimentally, it was the first show I did. It was the first anime I ever did. I'm very attached to certain roles I did in that show, like Bulbasaur and Richie. But if I think about like what I would have watched, well, as an adult, I think my favorite show would have been Funky Cops. As a kid, I think I would have loved Viva Pinata. I think it would have been right up my alley.
That show was amazing. I would choose Ninja Turtles just because
I didn't even think of that.
It was like the first prelay show I ever worked on, you know, where like the acting comes first and then it's sent to the animators. You have a lot of freedom. We recorded as a group oftentimes. It was animated in house. So you could see everyone like drawing stuff, and like it was and you know, it was, I was a little old for the original Ninja Turtles. It wasn't quite my pocket, but it was still was this sort of legacy brand, legacy property that we were like, oh my gosh, we're now the carriers of this torch. It felt very important. So
no one said F-Zero, unfortunately.
What's that? Oh, no, G.I. Joe. No, okay. Yeah.
Thank you for that question. I know I'm not good at just saying one thing when anyone asks a favorite. I feel like I have to get better about that.
There's also a lot to choose from, you know?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, Go-Go Riki. We barely touched on Go-Go Riki.
I don't want to talk about
in this whole show. You know what? Speaking of Go-Go Riki, we have a question from Eric.
Go, Eric.
This is Eric from Rancho Palos Verdes, California, and my earliest memory of 4Kids was watching Pokemon on our CRT TV through analog satellite. You know, when you had to like adjust the antennas on top of a TV in order to get the better picture quality. And it's been 15 years since the analog TV was discontinued. I mean, it was discontinued around like what, June 14, 15-ish, around that time. So wow, almost 15 years since they discontinued analog satellite TV. And of course, besides Pokemon, I watched Kirby Right Back at Ya, which, not knowing it was actually based off a video game.
Old TVs.
Yes.
I bet some of you listening don't even know what he's talking about with those rabbit ears on the TVs.
Was it someone at a con recently, or I don't know if it was Megan or someone who was talking about like how they loved that a lot of these shows were accessible just on, basic cable, that no one had to pay for it, and it kind of just evened the playing ground. Yeah. Oh, was it you?
Yeah, because it was a free thing, and like everyone could go to school and talk about. Someone mentioned that in an episode, which is why I've been regurgitating it, because
it's brilliant.
It's so different than today when there's multiple streaming services.
Yeah.
And who can pay for all of them? I mean, I can't handle paying for every single streaming service. Like I met a kid this weekend who wanted to watch something, and I asked him about a show, and he goes, I really want to watch it, but I don't have Crunchyroll. And I was like, well, you know what? I bet you could find a kid in school that also likes anime, and what a great way to make a friend. Maybe they have Crunchyroll. Again, you don't want to like encourage someone to spend money on anything because it's such an awkward conversation to kind of have. But back then there was just free television until cable, and
right. I keep seeing these posts on, I don't know what rabbit hole I fell down on Instagram, but all these, or Facebook even, posts of like the TV listings, like how the TV guide looked back in the 80s or the 70s. And like, you had to make a choice. You had to be like, oh, I can't watch all of these shows. Like, I either got to watch 227 or I got to watch Growing Pains. I can't have both.
Right, which is why the slogan, I think it was when Friends was on, must see TV. That was such a smart slogan, because you're like, well, I can't miss that. I must see. It was such a brilliant marketing strategy.
And honestly, like to me, the mentality was like, this is before DVDs were like, or even before shows came out on VHS, was like, if I can't watch this tonight, I am never going to see this show.
Right.
Like, I will forever not have seen that one Golden Girls episode. It's like,
little did you know they'd be tattooed in your brain.
That I could stream. What's streaming? Like, 4-year-old Darren didn't know.
Were you watching Golden Girls at 4?
I wish I was that young.
Maybe.
No, they started in 85. I was 9 when they debuted.
Okay. I can't believe we've taken this long to get to the word Golden Girls.
I worked in it.
It's like there. One word. Yeah, it's one word. Golden Girls.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority is using Google AI to create smarter tolling systems and improve traffic flow for Texans. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American Innovation.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I believe our very last message is from Blue Baron, who's been a great member of our Discord and a great contributor to the podcast. And we appreciate you listening, Blue Baron. Here's their message. Meow.
Hi, Tara and Darren. It's Blue Baron again. I just want to give my greatest appreciation to both of you and Steve for the podcast. You helped solve a couple more 4Kids mysteries, as well as having some good laughs along the way during these times. It's important to document U.S. anime dubbing history, and it's cool you two were part of it. A lot of the stories will hopefully inspire others to pursue many cool things in the creative fields down the line. Hopefully some other shy guests will contact you later down the line. I'm happy you were both able to find some lost media in the end. Take care and keep up the hard work.
Kudos to you, Tara and Steve, for spearheading this.
Man.
Like, honestly, like, that you stuck with it, that you, like, finding the people to come out of the woodwork and, like, talk about this, like, that's impressive. The technological aspect, I barely know what the heck I'm doing. Like, that
I've learned way more than I ever thought I would about podcasts and audio.
What? Like, it's so impressive, the determination and the...
thank you. That's really sweet.
Stick-with-itness, even though you're abandoning it, so it's fine.
I'm abandoned. Well, I'm not abandoned. I mean, we're running out of people to talk to, but it became a labor of love. the solving of the mysteries really, and Blue Baron's been a big part of this, has become like my favorite part. Like in recent episodes, we've played, and I wish I had done this from the beginning, we've played sound bites live for the actors to confirm if it's them or not. And
that's neat.
Yeah, it's also a matter of if Steve can dig them up fast enough. And, some of them are just not readily available. Like, it's hard to find, like, a magical Do-Re-Mi reference. But if it's One Piece related, Steve is always able to get it quickly, which is amazing.
There's got to be more people you could, like, did you talk to the guy at the front desk? Did you go to the Lenny's sandwich place down the street for kids? Like, what do you remember about the golden era?
The thing is I've tried to, and again, maybe this is a mistake, but because these are longer interviews, I've tried to limit it to people who have more credits on the show or, were there for more than like a couple. Like there's people on LinkedIn I found that were there for a couple months, and I'm like, I don't think I have enough to ask them about. Or people from the same department who've kind of said, yeah, I don't have anything new to add. There's people like that. There have also been people who have had very negative experiences working there who didn't want to relive them, and which is a little heartbreaking for me, because I'm sad that they had bad experiences there.
Yeah. And that's, is such a, I'm not just saying this, but like, it was such an exciting place to work. Not only was it sort of like my first big boy job, you know what I mean? Like, I get to go to an office every day and wear cute clothes and whatever. But just the atmosphere was
they were cute.
At least my experience, the atmosphere was so encouraging, and like there was a camaraderie. I think often us directors and actors sort of leaned into we were the comedic relief in what could have been a very stressful corporate situation for a lot of those people, and like I think we all kind of found our niche there, and that it became a really great community. People I still talk to and care about.
Yeah, it was a thriving creative community, and that's not to say it wasn't without its frustrations and things. I think we've been pretty clear about that on the podcast, but that also is lesson learning. There's so many things I learned from my frustrations working there,
right, that
I wouldn't trade. I think they help me navigate circumstances in the future, especially like recasts and things like that, and just learning how this industry is.
I also learned how to play different roles there. Like, thank goodness I wasn't like, I had that sort of what's the petri dish there to learn how to play a 14-year-old kid, and I wasn't going out to auditions and just winging it. Like, thank goodness I could cut my teeth on that stuff and figure out what the heck I was doing.
Yeah, and get paid to do it.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the part where, especially when I teach, people ask, how did you get into this? And I'm like, I have a very weird, blessed story. You don't.
Right.
They were like, here, why don't you learn how to play a frog on the on the job training, and we'll give you money.
Yeah, you're not a blueprint for how to get into voiceover necessarily.
No, he sat in his dungeon booth surrounded by pots and pans and Sophia Petrillo ornaments.
Oh, is that where you keep your Christmas ornaments?
Well, this one I've saved because I feel like someday it's going to make me a millionaire.
Let's see.
Absolutely not. But, there's
Oh, I almost bought that. He's holding up a Sophia Golden Girls Christmas ornament. Darren, I do think our next endeavor is going to be Christmas cookies.
Ooh.
I do want to do a baking show with you.
I've already chosen my colors for next season, so I always choose a different color palette.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
For the icing?
Yeah, this year was all blues.
And you're not ready to divulge that information right now?
No, it's related to something. It's related to something coming up. But yeah, it's gonna be. You'll see.
I've told Darren I want to take his cookie icing class because his work is phenomenal.
One, but I would love to
You could.
It's a laborious. I do it once a year because by the end, Jamie's like, I don't like who you are anymore.
that's Darren's husband. And thank you, honestly, Blue Baron, for that really, really sweet message and the thank yous, because I thank you guys. We wouldn't have kept doing this if no one was listening. So I I really appreciate all your downloads and referrals and sticking with us through some of our nonsense.
Cheers to you, Tara.
Oh, shush. Do you have a drink in there? Should we raise a glass? I'm raising my can of A&W root beer to you, Darren.
Ooh, I have a sad glass of water.
Oh, okay. We're going to drink to what is possibly our final talk back, but I'm sure many of our paths will cross in the future. Darren, I know ours will, but all of you listeners, I really look forward to meeting you all. When you guys come up to me at conventions and say you listen, you see the smile that comes across my face because I feel like we've been on this Poke journey together, as cheesy as that is.
I'd like to sing a song to wrap up this.
I'd like you to do the Poke rap.
Kirby, Kirby, Kirby.
Kirby, Kirby, Kirby. That's the name of the
Pokemon's at the casino.
Wait, how does the Digimon, Bulbasaur, Oddish, Clefairy, the Pokemon rap.
Like from the musical?
No, from that was like at the end of the episodes, wasn't it? You don't know the Poke rap? Oh, Darren didn't know about
Poke
jelly
rap
donuts.
in the live show. It's probably the same one, right? Like,
no. Wait, how did that one go?
I don't know.
Jigglypuff, Clefairy, gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon. That one.
Sure.
I'm going to send it to Darren immediately.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that's what the ending should be. A compilation of all the theme songs.
Okay.
Do you guys know here's a quick trivia question for you. Which 4Kids theme song did Darren sing a vocal on? I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, yell the answer out. 2, 1. Darren?
Fighting Foodons, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Okay, on that note, literally, thank you guys for listening, and
thanks
we'll
for
see
having
you
me,
soon.
Tara. Congrats.
Anytime. I mean, not anytime because we're kind of done, but mwah!
Mwah. Good night.
4Kids Flashback is a production of Maji Media, hosted by Tara Sands and Steve Yurko.
Producers are Zach Logan, Tara Sands, and Steve Yurko.
For more information, go to 4kidsflashback.com. That is the number 4. And if you worked at 4Kids and have a story you want to share, please email us at 4kidsflashback@gmail.com.
You can find us on social media at 4Kids Flashback, and to listen early and ad-free, head to patreon.com/4kidsflashback. For podcast merchandise, find links on our website and Linktree.
As they say on every podcast, if you liked this show, please subscribe, rate, and review, and tell your friends or 4. If you want to check out other Maji Media podcasts, go to Maji, MAJI.media. Thanks for listening.
Hi, it's Ashley and Jess with Wellness Reality Check. We are 2 health practitioners, moms, and best friends trying to navigate the world of holistic health in a balanced, productive way that brings health to our lives instead of dogmatic extremes. We'll be breaking down health trends, interviewing your favorite health influencers, and always keeping it real. We hope this podcast brings listeners back down to earth, providing a dose of reality in the often idealized world of health and wellness.
Wellness Reality Check. Follow the show now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or at wellnessrealitycheck.com.